It's time to get down to business on TK Business Live, brought to you by the members of the Topeka Independent Business Association. Now, let's join Tara Dimmick, owner and publisher of TK Business Magazine, as we take a look into the business world of Topeka, Kansas.
Hi, and welcome to TK Business Live. I'm Tara Dimmick, and it is great to be with you this Sunday. And just in case you didn't know, it is Small Business Month. So normally, there's a Small Business Week the first week of May. But Go Topeka and the Greater Topeka Chamber of Commerce deemed the entire month of May as Small Business Month. And they've been having all kinds of different events and shop events that you can be a part of to celebrate Small Business Month. So we're going to talk with Glenda Washington with the Entrepreneurial Minority Business Development Program out of Go Topeka and Kim Gronniger with the Greater Topeka Chamber of Commerce to find out what's going on over these last couple weeks of May that you might be able to get involved in. But at the end of the day, it's really about investing in small businesses. So, going and just buying a product from a small business is going to have huge impact in our community. At the Small Business Awards that were held, I guess it's been like a week and a half ago now, but at the Small Business Awards event and that celebrated several small businesses in our community as well as some nonprofits, Matt Pavarnik came up, who is the new president and CEO of the Greater Topeka Chamber of Commerce, and he spoke about a challenge. And the challenge was pretty simple. It's something that I think all of us could look at in whether it's personally or with our business, but basically to look at what we spend, and as a business specifically, who are your vendors, and what of that amount is going out of town? How much of our product, how much of our services are we purchasing that are actually from an out-of-town vendor? And look at that and say, could I find someone locally who could do that for me? Could I just make 3% of my current outside of Topeka spending become inside Topeka spending? Could I turn that into 5% or 10%, but just start with 3%? And the impact that would make, if we all did that, we all just took a simple pause and said, how do I spend locally? The impact on Topeka would be enormous. So I want to challenge you guys to that. I want you to think about it both personally and professionally, with your company, with the business you work for, with your own checkbook. What are you doing and spending that could be spent locally with a small business or even just any business that's right here in Topeka? All right. The challenge has been placed, so I hope that you'll consider it. And then let's get started with the show. I have Jared Beam with me. He's the Director of New Business Development for Brier, Payne, Mead Insurance. Welcome.
Hi, thank you.
So it is 100 years that Brier, Payne, Mead has been in business in some sort. So Tell me about this history and this 100 years.
The history. Okay. It's, and I've got it written down here because there's no way anybody could remember this. In 1916, James Brier Jr. started the Brier Insurance Services Agency. And in 1921, Holmes Mead found the Mead Company. Where we come in is Dennis Payne Jr., who is Denny. I'm going to call him Denny. It's Dennis Payne III.
Okay.
So it's going to get very confusing.
It gets very confusing when you start adding thirds.
So we're going to call him Denny. That's what everybody calls him. Denny's dad, Dennis Payne III, started working for the Mead Agency back in the late 40s. Then he went off to the Korean War, fought there, and came back and started the Dennis Payne Insurance Agency. In 1967, Dennis Payne III, Denny, started working with his dad, and he always tells the story his primary lead source was the phone book. Here's the phone book, son. Start calling. So
that's kind of still true today, except for we don't have very many phone books.
Absolutely, yeah. It's Google. Start Googling names, yes. So he started with that. And then in 1985, they acquired the Brier Insurance Services, the one that started in 1916. So now we have Brier and Payne, and that was in 1985. In 1986, Dennis Jr., Denny's dad, retired after 40 years. So now Denny has the agency in 1986, and in 1987, and here's where it gets even stranger, he partnered with John Payne from Springfield, Missouri. John Payne, spelled exactly the same, is no relation.
So this can get really confusing.
It is very confusing, but it's great. So Denny and John kind of took the lead, and in 1996, they acquired the Mead company, who Denny's dad had started working for back in the late 40s.
Wow.
So now, and that's when, in 1996, they developed Brier, Payne, Mead Insurance. So there's full circle.
Wow. So the existence has just been growing and growing and growing. So what does it look like today? What is Brier, Payne, Mead Insurance today?
Well, today we have 2 offices here in Topeka still, and then in Kansas City. Now, the Kansas City office was built up by Denny's 2 boys, or 2 of his 3 sons, Jonathan and Tim. So they have started the Kansas City office, and now we have 2 locations, and we have tripled in size.
Wow.
So it's very good. And we've expanded the things that we do as far as the coverages we provide and all of that too. So
tell me about the industry. Obviously there's been a lot of changes since 100 years ago, but what are some of the major things that you're seeing change and differences that are in the industry that businesses should be looking out for?
The main one, the kind of the hot button right now would be cyber liability. All the technology, everything that's happening, you have your hackers that are getting in. And one of the best examples is that we have, example after example of hackers getting into companies, what's the word I'm looking for?
Like into their system.
Into their system, and taking it hostage, basically, and then demanding a payment to get it back. And some of those payments are, I saw one of $333. Why they needed $333, I have no idea, but that's what they wanted. And then in some states, they'll go up to like $998 because $1,000 or more is a federal offense. So these hackers know what they're doing. And,
so they're almost like low level hackers who aren't necessarily looking to steal data.
Right.
They're just wanting to hold you hostage and getting a paycheck.
Yes.
Yeah, and what are the businesses doing?
So with the cyber liability, that's helping cover if something like that were to happen. But as a society, this is going to be outside the insurance world. We need to figure something out on how to stop that. But that is way, way above my pay grade.
Right, because if it's $333, somebody's thinking, I can just fix this if I just pay for it.
Right.
For me, the fear is, well, what if you pay for it and then they don't give it back? Like, where's this agreement from the thief that stole it, right? The hacker.
Right. It's very touchy right now, and it's new, and we're still in the beginning stages of trying to figure it all out.
But, well, and I mentioned before we got on the show, I was telling Jared about how I had gotten hacked for TK, and it was weird. It was more of just it wasn't somebody had hacked me and wanted any money. Nothing like that transpired, but the amount of money it cost to fix my problem was right around $2,000 is what we ended up spending to fix all the sites that got jeopardized because the hosting site was what got hacked. And so it was massive. And we didn't have any cyber insurance. We didn't have anything to even consider. We just went and fixed the problem and got IT on it, but it was expensive.
Just an unforeseen expense. And that's what companies are doing now is they're putting together this product called cyber liability and helping kind of counteract those expenses that you incur that you weren't ready for.
Well, and I can only imagine that it just is going to get bigger and bigger because, you mentioned one company before we got on the air, but what I think about is how many companies do everything with the computer. And if their system got shut down and it's all online based, all the programs are online based, if something happens where they can't get to those programs, they're done doing business for the day.
Right. Yeah. Well, the example was one of our companies that was actually talking to us about cyber liability. Their company shut down. It wasn't a hack or anything, but their systems just went down. And she, being kind of my age and older, knew how to go back and do rate by hand. So she used the wheel and everything that
I don't even know what the wheel is.
It's a rating wheel, and actually it probably has a specific name, but I can't remember what it is. But so she kept working, but everybody in their 20s and 30s just stared at her and said, "What are you doing?"
Right. We didn't learn it like this.
So they were completely shut down, except for her station. She was proud of that.
So how can somebody get more information? How can they learn more about cyber liability and other insurance products?
Well, they could just give their agent a call, and there's a lot of companies out there that are providing coverages. So give your agent a call and talk about what they can do.
Excellent.
For you. Yeah.
How about Brier, Payne, Mead? What's the website? How can somebody learn more about Brier, Payne, Mead?
Brier, Payne, Mead, we are bpminsurance.com. You can go to the website and check out everything we can do. We're a full-line brokerage. We do personal lines, the home, the auto, the life, commercial, work comp, the cyber, bonding, all of that. And we're also work with captive insurance, which is not a new concept, but a little bit different. Some companies you have to kind of qualify, but that if you do, it's a great deal. Medical malpractice, and then unemployment insurance, which a lot of companies don't realize there's an option out there besides purchasing it from the state. You can go and purchase it from a private carrier. So there's just a lot of things out there.
Well, we'll have to have you come back and maybe share some expert advice on some of those specific areas and talk about them and how somebody should be thinking about their insurance. Because I know, in setting up your insurance, sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes as a business owner, you're just trying to check a box. You're just wanting to get it taken care of, but you're not taking the time to really understand what are you buying and how could you buy better. Right.
And that's one of my, I guess, taglines is, we provide a service for you that you don't have time to look at. So we are your insurance person. And that's the way not just us, but any insurance agent should be for their client. You don't have time for that. You've got so many other things to do that insurance should be taken care of by that professional.
Well, excellent. Well, that was Jared Beam, Director of New Business Development with Brier, Payne, Mead Insurance. Thanks, Jared.
Thank you.
What is KIBA? KIBA is advice and support. KIBA is information and education. KIBA is a voice for small business.
I'm Patty Bossert, the president of Key Staffing and Premier Employment Solutions. KIBA is very important for networking, for bouncing ideas off of your fellow members because they're in the same situations you are and they have the same concerns about business and the same ups and downs that you have in your business.
The Topeka Independent Business Association is strong because of its members. Become a member today by visiting topeka.tiba.org.
I'm here with Mike Patterson, owner of the historic Harley-Davidson of Topeka. Welcome, Mike.
Hey, thanks.
Well, you guys have had so much going on over there on the corner of 21st and Topeka Boulevard, and I just keep seeing the building getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So tell me, what is happening?
Well, we're excited. It's a big project. Yes, the building is getting bigger. It's hopefully going to get enclosed here soon in the next couple of weeks, and we can really start going to work on the inside. But what we're building is largely this building is going to house the only Knievel Museum in the world, and we've got a very large collection of his items. Actually, the largest, other than the Knievels, have some items too, with a very large collection. So, and we're working closely with them. The Knievel family's behind it. So this is going to be a neat thing. It's something that Evil had dreamed of, having a museum, and had actually started on about 4 different locations to build one, and it was never done. And we're going to do it here. And ironically, we found some paperwork from his visions on the museum, and we found it after we had done a lot of design on ours, and it was pretty crazy how they were almost exactly the same ideas. So we feel like what we're doing is accomplishing a dream that he had. Just happens to be right here in Topeka, so lucky for us.
That's really cool. And I got to come down and see some of the collection, and it was incredible. But I have to ask, what got you involved in it? How did this start?
Well, it's a long story, and I don't know if we have time today, but it's interesting. We do a lot of restorations on Harley-Davidsons, and we've become nationally known for that. So people bring us their items all over the country. We did a bike a few years ago for rock and roll legend Jerry Lee Lewis, and got the bike in buckets and put the bike together for him, and he put it in his living room, and then the family decided to sell it. They sold it at Mecum Auctions for $385,000. So it was a top 20 auction bike of all time. Wow. That led us to the collector Lathan McKay, who's the Knievel collector, who was a friend of the Lewis family, and we got involved with actually restoring Evil's 1974 Mack truck, semi, and trailer. We did a huge restoration on that. It was about a 1.5-year project, and we worked with about 90 different individuals and companies here in Topeka, Kansas Powertrain, Todd Williams Restoration, Topeka Trailer, and High Torque Racing being the main contractors on it, as well as us. So we did that. We developed a relationship with Lathan. He started seeing the value of maybe having all of his stuff in a museum, and we just kind of started brainstorming and said, "Hey, let's just do this and build it here." And it kind of started out as to be a really cool display because there's a lot of really cool items. But what it's turned into, as we've kind of gone down this road, is something that's bigger than what we imagined, and now it's kind of turned into an attraction that is going to be more of a national attraction. We've got people supporting us to the level that the displays have taken a gigantic leap up, and it's going to be a fun experience. And I think the key word is experience when you come to this museum. It's not just going to be a walk around and look at things. There's going to actually be able to be some things that you can interact with, and we're excited about that.
So were you a fan of Evel Knievel?
Yeah, I grew up in the Harley-Davidson business, so Evel was a big part of my younger years. And I actually, when I was 5 years old, I went to the Hutchinson State Fair with my family, sat in the top row of the grandstand, and we were there to see Evel. There was a race going on, but Evel was the after the race entertainment, and that left a big impression on me. And the irony of it all is one of the bikes that we've worked with Lathan to help with some just a little bit of restoration. This bike's pretty much a survivor. Is the actual bike that he jumped at Hutchinson that day. So it's kind of been a whole roundabout thing for me, 40-some years later, to have been there, saw it, made a huge impression, had all the posters and all the toys, just like everybody else, did the jumping off the ramps just like everybody else. But to see it circle around and have the opportunity to be a part of it, for me personally, yeah, it's huge. It's pretty crazy, actually.
So what do you dream for this location? I mean, I know there's I've heard some numbers and what a huge attraction this is going to be. And, Topeka might not even realize what it's going to bring from a national level. But what is kind of your vision for it? What do you hope to see happens because of this? My dreams are that it's something that turns into one of the bigger, more important pieces of our tourism, and not only our city but our state. As far as numbers, there's been a lot of numbers thrown around, and I guess it's really hard to pinpoint that. It truly is a guess. But we're using other museums. We're using some numbers where there was an Evel Knievel display at the Harley-Davidson Museum, a temporary display in a separate building. And Bill Davidson told me that one from the Harley-Davidson family, he runs the museum, that they had 50,000 people come through in 2 months. Wow, just for a temporary
exhibit. For a temporary display. And his comment was, Mike, you have more stuff than we did for that. He said, and the other cool thing he said was the people came from international locations to see it. I mean, they were making specific trips to the U.S. to come to Milwaukee to see it. If that happens, wow, that would be cool that we have something in Topeka that's an international draw. It remains to be seen. We're going to put this together. Evel was a huge name in the 70s. I mean, you can put him up there with Muhammad Ali and Johnny Cash and Elvis and some of these other people that have museums as well. So I'd like to say that we had this big strategy to have a museum here and have it be an iconic guy from the 70s, and Evel Knievel's, perfect for that, but it just kind of all has happened, and there really wasn't a strategy. It's just all been, I wouldn't say luck, but we've taken advantage when we've seen the opportunities to work with Lathan, and it's just turning into something more than what we expected, and we've got to get it done, and we've got to get people coming. and that's what'll be the the true measure of the success of it. So I really don't like to talk about a huge success before it happens, but the people that know and the people that are outside of they're in the tourism industry are the ones telling us this. It's not us bringing up these numbers. So
that's exciting. Okay, so the building's growing. It's growing. Actually, it's grown a lot. I just drove by the other day, and I thought, I swear it was not this big even a month ago. But I don't know why there's something different about it. Something has completed in a way that made me really see that. So what should we be looking for over the next, really, I guess 6 months, right? This 2017. What should we be expecting? Opening days, those kinds of things.
Well, first, it has to be pretty big because it has to fit a Mack truck inside of it with a trailer. Yeah, right. So that truck is almost 70 feet long, and it's barely going to fit in the garage door. We've got it measured out, and the numbers say it's going to fit, but it's going to be really close. So, yeah, the truck's going to be a huge part of it.
So you're going to record putting the truck in so that everybody can watch that?
Yeah. It'll be sketchy.
So you should stream that live.
Yeah, we should. It'll be fun. What we're hoping for is that we can get this thing enclosed and the outer facade put on it, which is going to be a brick and stone and some metal siding to kind of, it'll be a little bit of a contrast to our big stone building, but also with some of the same cues with the rock and the stone. We didn't want to try to make it look exactly like the rest of the building. So we'll finish that up, and then really the real work starts with the displays on the inside. The building part's pretty simple. And we got guys that have done this before. The museum, it's the first time we've ever put together an Knievel Museum, so it's going to be all new. And but we are working with some experts in the field, and we've had some design people that are experts that have been working with us. And again, never imagined we'd be working with these type of people, but it's a requirement to do it first class, and that's what we intend to do. So hopefully our goal is to be able to present something in 2016.
Oh, that'd be exciting.
Yeah, it would. So hopefully later in the year we're far enough along that we can start looking at a the time for it to open. But like I said, we've not done this before, so it's all new.
Well, I will be excited to have you back on, and hopefully, we've talked a little bit, we want to have you in the magazine as well to kind of showcase these different transitions, and also, I think, to showcase a business person who's stepping out and doing something because it just feels like the right thing to do. So it's very exciting to see this transformation and what's going on, and thank you for the work that you're doing to try to make Topeka a great place to come to.
Well, it's where I'm from, and it's a cool opportunity for me, and not just me, but our whole dealership. There's a lot of people here working on this, and actually outside the dealership too. That it's a community effort, and we just happen to be the spot that it's ending up at. So we're going to do our best to make something that our whole community's proud of.
Well, that is awesome. Thank you so much Mike, for joining me today. And I will. We're going to get back together, and I want to hear an update here soon.
There'll be more exciting things to tell. Yeah.
All right. Great. Thanks so much.
See ya.
So it is the last. It's not the last Sunday of May, but it's the last full week of May. So it's the last full week of this celebration of small businesses for the entire month of May, because we don't do it small, like a week. We make sure it's a full month, right? Right. So I have Glenda Washington with Go Topeka and Kim Gronniger with the Greater Topeka Chamber of Commerce joining me, and we are talking about what's going on this final week of May.
Well, first of all, I want to thank the sponsors that helped us put together this celebration. That's Go Topeka, of course, our Topeka Chamber of Commerce, our Washburn Small Business Development Center, 712 Innovations, and Downtown Topeka, Inc. Thank you so much for helping us celebrate our small businesses.
Yeah, absolutely. Without those organizations, I think about just other communities And they don't have the kind of resources that we have. I mean, there have been so many great things put in place that we have available to us as small businesses, and even those people who are, maybe you have an idea. We have great resources, and then on top of it, they're doing great celebrations like this whole month of May.
Yes.
And one of the celebrations I'm excited about is our last cash mob is actually going to be at the Gage Bowl. So kids are out of school, might be an opportunity to take them down there, enjoy the day, and use that as your cash mob at Gage Bowl at 4200 Southwest Huntoon. Great organization, great fun, good way to kick off the summer season and support a local business that's a great entrepreneur and supporter of the community.
It might be a good day for us to challenge each other as well. I don't bowl, but I'm good at being competitive. So.
You find the right people to put on your team.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of gutter bowls on my end. You don't want me, but that'd be fun.
So we have looked at our website, and we saw that a number of people have been shopping local. We want to thank those individuals for embracing the concept of buy local. When you buy local, your dollar stays in the community. So don't just stop here. Continue to shop local and to continue to celebrate our small business community.
And I think what's exciting from our perspective, in the last couple of years, especially even the last year, we've had a lot of new businesses open. We've had a lot of new businesses that have eateries and coffee shops and boutiques and the whole gamut, and it's just very exciting. If you haven't availed yourself of the opportunity to go out and check out their services and programs, then this has been a great month. Hopefully you've had an opportunity to get out and do that.
Yeah, it really, it's a great year. I have had this whole year, and I would even classify 2017 is the year for small business in Topeka, Kansas. I feel that energy is just happening, and people are excited about opening businesses. People are excited about growing their business. And I think there's just there's good stuff in the air right now. So if you're thinking about it and you have some idea, now's the time. Now's the time to go talk to EMBD, go talk to Washburn Small Business Development Center, and find out if your business idea is something that, you want to move on, and is it the right time. So, ladies, anything else about the celebration or things that we should be thinking about as we're finishing out the month of May?
Well, just brace yourself for Small Business Saturday. That's all I got to say, and that happens in November. So we're going to celebrate small business again. We look forward to being a tool that you can use to help grow your business and strengthen your business. So I say take advantage of any opportunity out there that's offered to help you become one of Topeka's strongest businesses, and maybe next year you'll be in the running for a Small Business Award.
Oh, I love it, Glenda. I love it. Ladies, I love it. All right. Well, thank you, both of you. You have joined me every week of May and even before May to talk about this and celebrate small businesses. Thank you for all the work that you guys have done to make this great month happen. And I'll look forward to talking to you. I'm sure we're coming back, do a little full circle and chat a little bit more maybe once we get through the month of May.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for allowing us to join you.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, ladies.
All right. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks so much for joining me on TK Business Live. I hope you have a fabulous week, and go check out our sponsor, the Topeka Independent Business Association. You can find them online at topeka, TIBA.org. Thanks so much.
Thanks for joining Tara and her guests on TK Business Live. Join us again next Sunday at 11:30 to hear more from our community business leaders, entrepreneurs, and people making a difference in the landscape of how business is progressively moving forward in Topeka. TK Business Live is brought to you by the members of the Topeka Independent Business Association.